All right, so the person I'm interviewing today is just very multi-talented. He's just super well-rounded. Like he can do the planche, he could do front lever pull-ups. So both pulling strength, pushing strength, bent arm strength, straight arm strength. He's just amazing at all. And it's very rare to see someone like so advanced in all this. And not only that, he's also extremely smart. He's studying to be a doctor, and even all his training is very very methodical and. Yeah, it's very impressive. And he's also a programmer. He built his own app. So yeah, today I'm very honored to be interviewing Yaad Mohammad. So thanks for being a guest on the show.
Thank you for your super, super kind words, man. Didn't expect that. Holy shit. Thank you.
Yeah, so we met up in the Netherlands because I have family there. And we had a good training session together. And
we had a great food.
Yeah. Yeah, we went for food afterwards as well. But yeah, it was crazy. He would just his front lever pull-ups just look like he's floating. It looks super effortless, and it was 8 reps or something. Yeah. And yeah,
thank you, sir. Again,
it seems like he's making progress very fast, even at his advanced level, which is really cool. You would hit a PR for sets. It was, that makes sense.
You were there for the right moment, man. That was a good day. That was a good period in that doesn't always happen, but that happened to be a good 3 months of programming, and you were just at the right day. You were there, and then that day I just crushed it, and the week after I also crushed. But it was just a golden era. It was great. I was happy you were there.
Yeah, I think it's also right after your deload, right?
Yeah, I think it was the first. Yeah, it was. That was the first workout after my deload. You're right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sometimes, especially after deloads, it's very sometimes you'll just hit crazy numbers. So yeah, I have it the most for one arm pull ups. If I don't train for a week straight and I come back, then I can do a lot more reps than if I've been training the whole time. So
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the first question I'm curious is how did you get started into calisthenics?
Well, that was me just going on YouTube and then seeing when I was 14. So I'm 24 now. And back then I was 14, and I was browsing on YouTube as you do, and I came across a video, and I know exactly who this was. It was Geoff Craft, and this guy was doing 90 degrees push-ups. Now back then I was very unaware of that, and I didn't know what gymnastics was. I didn't know what calisthenics was, and I saw this guy just hopping into a handstand, lowering down to a bend arm planche, and then pressing back up again for reps. So me, the 14-year-old guy who has never done sports in his life before, the only thing I did was sit behind my computer, play games and shit. I was impressed. I was like, holy crap, how is this even a thing? Why has nobody told me that this is a thing? So the first thing I did is I texted my one of my best friends, and I said, yo, I'm going to do that. And then she laughed at me. She was like, what? You're like a twig. How are you ever going to do that?
Yeah.
And then a few years later, I proved her wrong. I was doing reps of 90 degrees push-ups, and that's how I got into it.
So you showed her your video afterwards? Look, it happened.
Yo, I said, I killed it. I did it for reps. Yeah, definitely.
So who's the person? You said Geoff. I've never heard of this person, but if he was doing 90-degree push-ups for reps 10 years ago, when it was not nearly as advanced, right? I thought I would have heard this person before.
So this person was back then. You had a few YouTubers that were actually back then. Form we weren't as forgiving. We were more forgiving about form. So his form now, if I look back at it, is But okay. Back then, there were a few guys. I remember if you typed in full planche push-ups, you had a guy that did banana planche push-ups, but we were all impressed. And it was this guy too. He was also doing banana sort of full planche push-ups, but everyone was impressed. And he's a gymnast. I think he's a gymnast. And he had a bunch of 90 degrees push-up tutorials, handstand push-up tutorials, and he had a planche tutorial. And I think he's still working out.
Where's this guy from?
To be honest, I didn't go as far as that, man. I just watched his training videos. I didn't ask many questions. I was just impressed by his movements.
Okay. Does he still post and stuff? Or is he still training, or this is?
So I looked him up, and I actually can look him up again now. He posts once every so many months, and he's a full-time gymnastics coach, I think, right now.
Okay.
I think his last post was 4 years ago. Never mind, it was 4 years ago. So I don't think he's in West Houston Gymnastics. That's where he trains.
Oh,
So
he's American.
yeah, he's American. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can later send you the video. Maybe you can pop it in the video like midway edited or something.
Yeah, sure.
I can send the exact video that inspired me because I have it right here.
Okay, yeah, I'd love to see it. We can even include it in this the podcast.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
So once you found that, like, what did you? So I guess before that, you didn't do any sports at all, like zero.
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
And so you watched that in 2014, and then you just started doing like push-ups and pull-ups at home, or like.
That was in 2011. And I basically and what I basically did is the first thing I did was I Googled how to 90 degrees push-ups, and then I came across planche, and I fell in love with planche more than 90 degrees push-ups. So the next Google was how to planche, and then I came across gymnastic bodies, which is back then was a huge website. I'm pretty sure it's big right now too. And they had a bunch of they had a great community where they explained the very classical way of teaching planche. You know, the tuck planche, then you do the advanced tuck planche, then you do one leg or straddle, and then you do full planche. So what I did is every day I just attempted planche.
Yeah.
And you know, I was young, so I could do that. I wouldn't get injured by doing that. And I did that alongside handstand attempts. So the very first video I've ever recorded of myself was a handstand. Ever regarding training was a handstand, and it was on the 10th of February 2011. And from that day on, I basically filmed my entire training career. So I can go back all the way to 2011 and compare it to now 2020 and see how I change in form and everything. But yeah,
I want to ask you about the handstand. Like, how did you go about learning the handstand? Did it take you a long time?
So I spitballed the handstand. I just popped in.
Yeah.
I tried to hold it. I couldn't hold it. And then after 2 months, I was in a free running community. One of these guys said to me, like, what are you doing? You gotta grab into the ground. You gotta, press the ground with your fingers. I was like, what? Why did nobody tell me this? And at that moment, at that very day, when he told me I could hold it for 10 seconds after he had explained that. So I had done months of handstands without knowing to do that.
Yeah.
Then he taught me that. And from then on, it went really fast. I had a banana handstand, granted, like for a year until I realized form was a thing.
Were you using the wall when you were practicing?
Yeah, I started with the wall, definitely, because I was scared of shit. Because, I'd never done anything like this. This was my very first calisthenics experience. And then after a while, I would just try freestanding, and I would fall a few times. But you're lightweight, you're like 14. Like, if you fall, you don't really die. So
no, the wall is super useful. I mean, I talked about it with Mike Smart as well. Like, some YouTubers like, don't do like the back to the wall.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I think if you want to have like time under balance, like instead of time under tension, I think time under balance, like if you use the wall, you get so much more if you don't have to reset every time, right?
No, I actually, one of the training methods I use to teach handstands nowadays, now that I know better, is I have people do their back against the wall, and then I let them try to get off the wall using only their finger strength.
Okay.
And once that's easy, they go a bit further from the wall, which requires more finger strength. Because if you look at hand balancing, handstands, it's two factors. It's getting better at balancing, and the second factor is strength, but not the kind of strength you expect, like not shoulder strength, but the finger strength. The stronger you get in your fingers, the more room there is for error. Because basically, when you overbalance, you need to grip the ground, and then you go back in the balance point again. But if you're weak, you can't press back. But if you're strong, you can press back whenever.
Definitely.
So that's what I have my clients or athletes do, trainees do. I have them go as far as possible from the wall, try to grip the ground, only using their fingers, nothing else. And after a while, they will have an abundance of strength, and then they can just take care of the balance aspect, which is actually not that hard. That's just exposure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think also like once you get really good at the balance, and maybe you don't even need that much finger strength towards the end, right? Like.
That's true. after a while, the professionals actually try to minimize fingers, like the usage of their fingers. It's only for like situations where you're falling out of balance. But if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
look like people like Yuri Marmerstein or Mikko Christiansen, if you look at their fingers, like they barely move. It's like they're perfectly centered around this point. And I even made a video on YouTube explaining the pressure points. Like you want to be balancing around here, and if you balance around here, you're still safe, but you're using a lot of force. And if you're balancing around here, you gotta grip really hard to get back here again. So this is the golden spot to be for balancing. And if you can stay there,
Yeah, but
then
it's
there's almost
very
no.
hard to stay here. But yeah,
Exactly. Have you ever played Tony Hawk on like on the PlayStation, like Tony Hawk skateboard game?
no, I try to avoid playing video games.
Okay, but if the listeners, if someone had played it, there's you can do grinds or manuals on a skateboard, and then you have this balance chart, and then with the analog stick you have to balance in the green zone. That's basically the same thing with hand balancing. You got to balance in the green zone, and this is the green zone, this is the yellow zone, this is the red zone. So
Okay.
that's kind of the
I think another thing I like examples like when you're just standing, for example, you don't really have to consciously push and rebalance because you're already really good at the balancing part, right? So I think it's the same thing with handstands. I mean, I'm not even there yet, right? But I think once you get really good, it's like you basically have to use zero strength on your wrists and stuff because you're just balanced and stacked so nicely.
yeah. If you get really good, it's basically balance, 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 and then one low pinch, and then you're back again, or balance,
Yeah.
balance, low one pinch. So it's like very minimal. It's like the frequency of presses reduces by a lot.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah, I've already noticed it a lot for myself. It's reduced. Obviously, I still have to do a lot, but like it's definitely reduced. And actually, I haven't been able to train for like the last month because I've got like this shoulder burritis. But yeah, basically any overhead press movements like hurt a lot. It might have been because I was trying too hard to do like handstand push-ups. Like I was training it.
Do you also have this pain when doing like a dumbbell overhead press work?
Yeah, basically any overhead press work. So I'm kind of just. Luckily that it was on my stronger arm, so like it's actually not that bad of an issue because I can just work my weak arm and like. If it was my weaker arm, it would have been kind of annoying. But yeah, it's okay. So I just taking like a month off training my left arm for pushing. Like I can still do rows. So it's okay. Yeah. Have you had any injuries yourself in the 10 years you've been training?
Oh, many, dude. I mean, you can imagine as a kid not knowing what to do, you'd get injured a lot if you planche every day. So I had many wrist injuries because I just didn't know better. There wasn't anyone telling me not to do that. And I've had I've had a few times where I had tendonitis around the elbow flexor. So the one time it would be the brachioradialis, the other time it will be the brachialis, and a few times biceps. And those injuries sucked. They sucked really, really bad. And
what happens when you get tendonitis? It's like you basically have to take like a month off.
So that depends on how severe it is, and I would always take a minimum of 6 months off for tendonitis because you need at least 6 weeks. Sorry, not 6 months, 6 weeks. Yeah, but for me, it took one. I remember this was when I just got the full planche. I got tendonitis in my elbows, and I was out of the game for 6 months, 6 freaking months, because I was spamming the full planche. I was showing everyone like, haha, full planche, full planche, full planche, full planche. After a while, it just started hurting, and the pain wouldn't go away, so I had to stop for 6 months. I didn't stop with calisthenics the entirety, but I stopped with complete straight arm work. So I just did weighted dips, I didn't do pull-ups because I couldn't. But I did weighted dips, weighted push-ups, and I would do rows, stuff like that worked still. And eventually I slowly reintroduced full planche again, and then I could do it again. But it sucks, man. Those kind of injuries are no fun. They're no fun.
Yeah, especially when you're younger, like you're less patient, and you're like, it's okay, I'm just gonna push through. Yeah, and now I like obviously know, like I can probably start doing handstand push-ups. I'm like, you know what, like what's the rush? Like I'll wait like 3 more weeks. It's better than doing it again, like starting from scratch, like getting hurt again. So
yeah, that's what I call training. Like you have age, your actual age, and then you have training age. So I've seen people who are 40 but just started calisthenics and they get injured. They have the same mentality of getting back. I gotta get back fast. But people who have actually just been training longer and are younger, maybe even, they're more often very calm because they've had more experience. They've been injured more often, So for me, for example, I'm 24, but I've had 10 years of training almost. In February, it'll be 10 years. So for me, I feel very old in training, in my training age. I just feel like I'm an old man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you're really lucky that you started calisthenics so young. Like everyone that I meet that are just complete beasts, like started when they're like, before 18. Like I don't know. I think if you start in your teenage times or something, you're just like your nervous system is different or something. I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah, and you're when you're younger, you can just do more volume without getting injured.
Yeah,
It's just
you have a longer
yeah,
career. I also think like like they say it's easier to like learn languages and all this other stuff like when you're younger, right? So it's probably the
yeah.
same thing for this kind of like your brain, your nervous system has like more like plasticity, and if you start training at a younger age, like your body.
That definitely too. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Also, yeah, yeah. Both those things. But yeah. It's both those things, and but primarily, I think the injury part is the biggest thing because if you look at the best of the best athletes, we're talking about people who are breaking world records. The the thing that distincts them from becoming the best is how often they get injured. You know, because you have these genetic freaks. You have these genetic freaks that get like a full planche within 3 months. They exist,
yeah,
but often those people get injured within a year or something, and they are so injured that they get demotivated and they leave the game. And then you have people who don't get injured, and those are the ones that end up becoming Olympic champions and stuff. Those are sort of the monsters, that make it.
yeah. It makes sense. I mean, yeah, you really just have to balance the two things. Like, there's always like a risk reward. Like, do you try to get back into training a week early and risk like being injured for another 6 weeks, or do you want to
Yeah.
just wait another 2 weeks before it's completely healed and then you'll be fine? Like, I've had that. I've made that mistake before for not for my shoulder, but like I've had this like thing in my lat. Sometimes it would start hurting when I did pull-ups, and if I get in too early, like I would have to wait another 3 weeks or something. So
Yeah, that sucks.
yeah.
That sucks.
So you know what's interesting? So you never trained, and then the first thing you Googled was how to planche, like which is like like one of the most advanced moves, right? Like, so did you
Yeah.
focus on basics as well? Like,
Honestly, dude, I I just I just hopped into the tuck planche, and I could do a very shitty tuck planche because I was like 45 kilos. I was a twig, so I didn't really hop in the basics. I just tried. That's the thing. Your body is so forgiving at that age. You can just attempt until you can do it. So back then I could just attempt, and then I had it eventually. Well, the full planche I didn't get that way because that one is not forgiving as much as the other movements. The full planche I only got after I had finally gotten a training method, but the other stuff like front lever and one-arm pull-ups I actually got by just attempting.
yeah, I mean, for me, it's the same with the front lever and the one-arm pull-ups. I just did like kind of like greasing the groove or something.
Right.
Yeah, well, no, not for one-arm pull-ups, because that one I feel like if you did the greasing groove, you'd injure yourself. Like,
You would probably injure yourself, but then there are a lot of people who can just do it out of nowhere. Well, when I say a lot, I just mean I don't mean a lot actually. They're just people who can do that. I don't mean a lot.
well, if you have a good base,
Uh,
like, did you even train pull-ups a lot before you did the one-arm pull-up?
so I have to think actually. So I am actually a pull-up genetic freak,
Okay.
and but I'm not a push freak. And I had always spent like my training would have back then was always 80% push and 20% pull, but yet my pull was much better than my push. Uh, don't that's just probably how my lats are inserted. Maybe I have some sort of a mutation that
Yeah.
makes me better at that.
Have you thought about just
But
focusing only on pull, and you just become like one of those freaks on the Instagram that are doing like one-arm front lever pull-ups and stuff?
yeah, I have thought about that, but I just my passion just lies so much in that planche. And the cool thing is I don't have to focus much on pull to become much better at it. So right now I have a 50-50% program,
Okay.
but my pull, even when I don't really focus on it, like I think a month ago, I hit 9 one-arm pull-ups, but I don't really train one-arm pull-ups, but I could do 9 reps.
Yeah,
And I haven't even
saw that.
done,
It's crazy.
yeah, I mean, I'm like, damn, like, can you imagine if I started training hardcore for it? But right now that's not really within my goals because I have certain goals and I gotta hit those goals first before I jump into the pull train. I also noticed people who are actually really good at something are not really interested in doing that thing. They're interested in the thing they're actually bad at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
I,
a bit like that, but it's also because it's easiest to improve in that thing, right? Like for me, like I really like training the handstand push-ups because I'm actually improving all the time. Where it's like
right.
chin up and stuff, it's very easy to plateau because I've already been training it for so long. I'm already in that.
That's also true.
Obviously, not
Yeah.
like 9 reps, but like 4 or whatever, which is still like
Sick.
yeah, a lot
4 sick.
like most people. So
Yeah, 4 is insane. Yeah.
isn't the world record like 17 or something in a minute?
Yeah, it was 17. It was done by I think a guy from Asia. It was like 1 meter 58, something
I
like
thought it was the
that.
arm
So he's
wrestler guy, like this Russian arm wrestler.
oh, but I think it got broken again. But someone had 18 reps just recently. I just saw recently a small kid doing it, 18 reps. Yeah, some people are just freaks, man. Some people are just
Yeah,
so
but I mean,
strong.
you did half of what he did, and I mean, you can probably get like 12 if you had a whole minute, right? Where you can like reset,
Yeah.
shake your arm out, and keep doing it, and you don't even.
Oh
Shake.
yeah, probably. Yeah, I could probably get 18 if I had focused on it, like complete
Yeah.
focus, had a program focused on it. But again, it's not really part of my goals, you know.
Okay, so what is one of your goals right now?
So my goals, I definitely want to get. So I already have a 10-second full planche. I finally achieved that one. But I kind of want to go towards doing a Fungelder on rings and Zanetti's on rings, which is basically where you start in a back lever and then you press with straight arms to a Maltese.
Okay.
That's where I'm interested in. And those kind of movements. I want to really become a freak at the gymnastics part of calisthenics, on the rings. I want to get insanely strong there. And I want to get the Victorian on the rings, but with actual beautiful form. Like Manuel Caruso has probably the best form I've ever seen. And there's another guy who is not that popular, Onizuka on Instagram. This guy has the best Victorian, even better than Caruso in my opinion.
So what's his last name?
He uses an anime name. It's Onizuka's.
Okay, because like it sounds almost Japanese or something.
Well, that is from the anime from great teacher Onizuka.
Oh,
So
but he's not like a gymnast. He's just like a street workout guy.
Yeah, he's a true workout guy, and those two are both two street workout guys, and they dominated the Victorian. They're better than any other gymnast when it comes to Victorian. They are just right now, in my opinion, Scarlux, which is another Instagram guy, is the strongest multi/planche guy, and then Onizuka is the best Victorian together with Caruso. Those two are out of the world. They're legends, in my opinion.
So for the Victorian, that's a static move, right? So I'm assuming you're doing straddle Victorian, like in your training. Like what do you like one arm?
No, I just do. Yeah, you would expect people to do. Have you ever seen a straddle Victorian?
No, I've never. Is it uncomfortable? Like your legs get in the way? Like what?
It's weird. Yeah, it's super weird to do anything that it's not full Victorian. Anything else just feels weird.
Even one leg.
Well, on the P bars it's fine, but if you do it on the rings, I don't know. Nothing makes sense on the rings anymore. I can't explain it, but I've never even tried it, to be honest.
Your arms have to adjust for the leverage, like the.
Yeah, it's weird to explain. I'm sure you can do it, but we never do for some reason. I've never seen it. I've never tried it myself either.
So what kind of training do you do to improve your Victorian? Like do you use bands or something to lower the load?
So I basically work on the muscles required for Victorian. I do like a specific work, so pull-ups, rows. I get really strong at those. Then, because I make use of periodization, where in the first stage of periodization, the mass stage, I work on getting those muscles big. Then I have a strength phase where I work on like getting high numbers on a row and getting high numbers on a pull-up. And then the third stage is working specifically on the movement, which is the Victorian in this case. And what I would do is I would do twice a week, I would do 2 to 3 sets of ring Victorian holds. I would just pop into a Victorian, try to hold it. And if I can't hold it for at least 3 seconds, I would do P-bar Victorians instead. So I need to have at least 3 seconds before I'm satisfied with doing the holds.
Okay. So it's not much. You basically just 6 attempts a week.
Yeah, it's not much. It's because you can't do it much. You will get injured.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then for this other one that you're trying to get, it's a concentric movement, right? So right,
Right.
the Maltese, the back leverage Maltese. So are you doing like the negative? Is that how you train that one?
Right now I'm not doing specific work towards it. What I'm doing now is getting my full planche insanely strong and getting my Maltese insanely strong. And that's once I've like hit like a 10-second Maltese on the rings, that's when I switch my training to do a specific range of motion work, because there's, the Fungelder has a very specific range of motion. It's this range of motion, which I
Yeah,
don't really train right now,
yeah, I agree.
but I do train this part.
Yeah, that's what I thought maybe the planche. I mean, doesn't actually help that range of motion. Obviously, the similar muscles are being used, but you want to
Yeah.
train like what they say strength. Like the range of motion is important, right? Like if you train isometric, like plus or minus 15 degrees is what really like gets strength.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and deep hands and deep planche push-ups also help, because if you look at the deep planche push-up, again, I'll try to stand. Yeah, so you start here, you go deep, 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 and you see that's the same angle for the upper arm.
Yeah.
See that? So that also helps with the movement. Obviously, it's different in a Fungelder because you're also wide. So instead of here, you're also here. So you have this movement instead. So it's like a fly. It's a fly that with your hands a bit lower. So there's a lot of chest work, a lot of delt work. And if you look at any gymnast that can actually do a Fungelder, they have huge pecs, man. It's crazy. Huge delts, huge pecs, and insanely big biceps. So those are the muscles I need to work on.
Yeah, I was thinking. Because they say like muscles have the most like hypertrophic effect when you're training them at the most stretched state of their movement, right? It's like this is basically like when your bicep is the most stretched, your chest is pretty much the most stretched, and your shoulders as well. So that's probably why they get so fucking big just from doing this range of motion.
That too, and they just also do a lot of bicep curls and stuff. You don't see them do that. They don't really post that. But if you actually, because I've trained with Yuri van Gelder, for example, and I've seen him do a crazy amount of like curls. Like this guy can do so much. Like and if he pops his biceps, dude, it's like you don't want to see those biceps.
Yeah,
they're insane.
So do you do isolation work as well?
Yes, I do. I do specific elbow prep work, and I do specific bicep work. So bicep curls to get bigger biceps, and I do straight arm planche Maltese presses with dumbbells. You've probably seen them done before by gymnasts, where you lay on the bench. You lay like so, and then you start doing this movement. Yeah. So I do that for joint preparation for the elbows.
Okay. Well, what about just like just in general, like tricep extensions? I don't know, like lateral raises.
I have lateral raises in there too. Yeah, rear delts I also have in there. Triceps not so much, because I have so many compound movements that involve the triceps, so I don't want to overwork them. So that's ones that specifically I don't have, but you could have them in there. I used to have them in there, but at this period I don't. But yeah, I do isolation work, definitely.
Okay.
It just depends on the period, on what cycle I'm on.
So is it usually in your hypertrophy cycle that you do the isolation?
Yeah, then I definitely have isolation. Yeah.
And in the hypertrophy, your rep ranges usually 8 to 15 or something?
I have 2 rep ranges for the I call them primary movements, 6 to 10, and then I have my secondary / isolation movements, which is 10 to 20 rep range.
Okay, yeah, I think that sounds like a really good strategy. Like for the more compound movements, I'm assuming are the primary stuff, right? Like you try.
Right. Yeah. Right. Right.
What other things? Do you do any cardio?
I do not do any cardio. Why? Because I just don't have the time for it. Do I recommend anyone else do cardio? Yes, but not too much. That's basically my view on cardio. I think if you're a strength athlete, cardio is great, but don't do too much. I don't know if that's even the question you have. It's like, well,
no, it's totally fine. I mean, I'm just
yeah.
We're just going through all the questions because just I'm interested. I'm sure the listeners will be interested.
Right. Yeah. No, cardio is a great thing. It's very good for health. But when you're a performance athlete, when you're a performance athlete focused on, let's say you're a sprinter, you don't want to do marathons. It actually reduces your muscle size to a certain point. It depends like how much you do. But if you run actual marathons, that's really bad for your sprinting career.
Yeah. What about like, so maybe not just cardio, but just anything other than calisthenics? And do you have any other hobbies that are physical?
I used to do some free running, parkour, but that's like 6 years ago, so I don't do any of that anymore. So I let me think. Yeah, sometimes no, actually not anymore. I was gonna say.
I gotta jump in it probably.
Yeah, sometimes I had a period where I liked basketball and I would try jumping high, stuff like that. But that's just low periods where I focus on stuff. But right now, just because of lack of time, it's calisthenics only for me now.
Okay. Next question is, do you train legs?
Legs, interesting. Yeah. So I used to. Now I don't train them as much anymore. The reason is because one of my other goals, which I forgot to mention, is to hold the full front lever for a world record. And anything that makes the full front lever harder will obviously make the world record for me harder to get. Yeah. So if you want to become a specialist, you got to make sacrifices. You can't become the strongest front lever guy in the world and have big legs. So I don't really train legs as much anymore.
Gotcha. No, I on Instagram and on the internet, everyone's always like making fun of people for having chicken legs.
Yeah.
I think it's so ridiculous. Like if you're a specialist, like why does it matter, right? Like no one's judging, Usain Bolt based on how fast he can swim, right? No one cares. Like no one's asked Michael Phelps like how fast do you run? Like it doesn't matter. Like
yeah. I mean every it's funny because if you look at any other sport, every sport has a specific body type.
Yeah.
Look at marathon runners. They're skinny guys. Look at sprinters. They're tall, buff guys. Look at basketball players. They're skinny but still buff. Look at like every sport has a different body type. Michael Phelps is not your usual guy. He has a very weird body. Why are we not making fun of that guy? Yeah, right? So it's just whatever you're specialized in. Like, hey, if I was an all-rounder, if I was one of those guys that did competitions where you also squat, I had no legs, then yeah, call me out, man. Like, call me out. I'm a bitch. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, but you're right. I also find it ridiculous. It's just, I never understood that part. I was, you'll have some guys that just hate on that, but
I respect that. I mean, I think a lot of the street workout guys, like, they train their legs just out of peer pressure at this point, right? Like they don't want to be
right
chicken legs or whatever. But yeah,
exactly.
It's like what your goals are in life. So if you want to just be like well-rounded, then obviously and you like training legs, train it. But if you have like specific goals, like Yaad, where you're trying to go for the world record, then
right.
There's no need. And legs, I find they're way easier to train than your upper body, right?
And they're super fun. I remember deadlifting and getting PRs.
Legs is not fun.
I actually loved it. I remember deadlifting because I have long arms, so I'm relatively good at deadlifting. If I would actually become a deadlift athlete with also my strong lats, I could probably pull some crazy numbers. But my coach back then, I had a coach. He basically said, "Bro, you can't deadlift. You gotta stop. You're not gonna break records if you're going to deadlift. Yeah, you gotta make a choice. Are you gonna become a jack of all trades, or are you actually gonna become the best at something?" So I was like, "Fuck, you're right."
Yeah.
You're right.
So like deadlift's also really taxing. So like not only do you gain size, you also can't train because your CNS will be burnt out and you'll
totally.
So that's another thing. But yeah, I agree. Deadlifts are fun, but everything else when it comes to legs, like squats, lunges, extensions, I find them like super boring and painful. And yeah, so I do them, but I don't know.
Yeah, I feel you.
Maybe I should stop. Maybe I should just. But yeah, I'm not
specialist
records or anything. So.
Hey man, specialism, like you don't need to break world records to become a specialist.
But it's nice.
You just want to get better,
isn't it?
I mean, it's a nice excuse.
All right, so let's next thing. Let's talk about like your diet. Do you follow any kind of strict diet or protocol? fasting, vegan, vegetarian?
No, I don't have a strict diet. I basically just do fit your macros. You know, if it fits your macros,
So
then
you
it's
track
totally
your
fine.
macros then? Like
Hmm?
you do track your macros, like you track.
No, I don't track them anymore. I used to track my macros for like I remember back then, 6 years ago. I tracked it for a month or two. I got a good idea of what food is. Like I could look at food and be like, okay, this is about this much. And nowadays I use the weigh scale, so I just weigh myself, and if my goal is to gain weight, I just check: do I am I gaining weight? Yes or no. The most important things for me are I gotta hit my micronutrients and I gotta hit my protein. Anything else goes. If
Yeah.
I'm trying to gain weight, then I need to gain weight. If I'm trying to lose weight, then I need to start losing weight. As simple as that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I do the same thing. I used to, I tracked for like a little bit for like a few weeks. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And then I just started eyeballing it. And then also, that's also like, what's the point? So now I do the same kind of thing. Like if I just look like, oh, what did I have for breakfast, lunch, dinner? Did I eat enough meat? You know, if not, I'll have like a scoop of whey protein or something, you know?
Right.
That's about it. And then for weight, I mean, you can just auto regulate, right? Like once a week, you check your weight and see if it's where you want it to be. If it's over it, eat less. If it's under it, you eat more.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the easiest way because you know the stricter the diet, the less likely you will stay compliant to the diet.
Yeah.
So there's no way I'm going to follow one diet 10 years long. There's no way I can do that. And I love food.
Yeah. Who doesn't, right? Uh,
Right.
so that you were talking about micronutrients. Like you want to make sure you get your micronutrients. Are there specific micronutrients that you really make sure you're getting? And do you take supplements for them, or is there
Yeah.
specific I don't know vegetable that you make sure you eat like X amount of times a week, or what do you
I
do?
try to I try to eat at least once a day a salad, you know, a side salad for my with my dinner. But other than that, I do take supplements. I take my multivitamins. So I just have them here.
All right,
This is a multivitamin by Centrum. They are
Vi-
the only vitamin. What?
I was like, is that Viagra?
No, bro. No. This is a multivitamin by Centrum. They are one of the only companies that don't create like multivitamins with like 500% vitamin C for your daily intake. You know those ones that are ridiculous, like
Yeah,
2000% vitamin B. Like, bro, chill. This is like one of those companies that's actually balanced in that. I take fish oil pills, omega-3.
Okay.
Folic acid I take, which is vitamin B11, and I take vitamin D, of course. And other than that, I take whey protein, casein protein, collagen, collagen protein, vitamin C in powder form with the collagen protein to absorb the collagen better. And I take, did I say creatine already?
No, you didn't say creatine.
Creatine. Let's go. I think that's everything.
Okay. Uh, this is the blue pill is a multivitamin, right?
It's a multivitamin, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've seen the ones that are like 500%. I didn't know is that actually like bad to overtake something, like especially like vitamin C.
It depends on the vitamins. You know, it depends on what you take. And for example, vitamin C is a bit complicated because a lot of research showed that you can take so much without having any issues. But then again, some people have the tendency to create kidney stones when they take an abundance of vitamin C. But not everyone has that. You know, not everyone has that side effect. And then some other vitamins you just don't want to take too much of. You know, it's toxic in the long term. So. And when I say toxic, it's nothing really dangerous. But if you're going to do something for many years, just make sure you get the right thing. You know, so for me, I looked into it. Centrum was the right thing for me. So in my country, in the Netherlands, Centrum works. I don't know if any other country also has this brand, but that one seems to be legit.
Okay, gotcha. Um, let's see.
And well, one more thing. Sorry. And females require different amount of vitamins than men. So Centrum actually takes care of that. I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. I just happens to be a brand that I trust. But yeah, you don't want to take as a man a female vitamin.
You're like on a subscription with them, or you just like buy like?
No, you can just buy it. Yeah, you can just buy it.
Okay.
Go to
I don't know
pharmacist.
how the requirements change for women, but do you know what the differences are?
I think it was vitamin E and something with zinc was different, but don't quote me on that. I'm very rusty on my vitamins,
Okay.
but I'm pretty sure vitamin E was much higher for females, but I'm not sure. But you'd have to check.
But
But
do you remember,
yeah,
like, you're studying to be a doctor, right?
right.
Yeah, what kind of doctor were you planning to be?
So first, in think about 2 years right now, less than 2 years, I'll be a general practitioner,
Yeah.
just a medical doctor. And then after that, I can choose to specialize. And then one thing if I'm going to specialize, I would probably specialize in sports medicine. Um, but that's if I decide to specialize, because it really depends on how my life goes. Like if my company does really well, like is there really a need to study for 4 more years extra? So that really depends on
Yeah.
how my life goes.
But if your company does really well, then you wouldn't even use your degree, right? Or you're talking about your company as in like the general doctor. Like you want to start like a clinic or something.
No, I meant like Lepco Fitness. Like
Oh, okay.
if Lepco Fitness goes well, then there's no need for me to try to get an income from becoming a doctor. I would
Okay.
probably work part time as a general practitioner just to maintain my degree, because you need to do a certain amount of hours every year to maintain your degree. Otherwise, you lose it.
Okay.
So I would probably do like that, and then my main income hopefully will be Lepco Fitness in a few years. That's my goal. Like I don't want to actually become a doctor. Like I studied medicine so that I could become sufficient at academics and also have a very wide knowledge of a lot of things when it comes to the body. So it would make me better at becoming an authority in the calisthenics and sports science field. That's why I use medicine,
Okay.
which is weird. I don't recommend anyone. If you're listening and you're still deciding on what you want to do, don't do medicine for this purpose. If you want to do medicine, just do it for the purpose of becoming a doctor. It's not efficient what I'm doing.
You have a super comfortable safety net though. Like if this doesn't go,
So true.
then
Yeah.
your backup plan is to become a doctor. Like that's most people's dream. That you're like, yeah, the plan B.
I mean, yeah. I'm blessed in that sense. Yeah. So that it is a great backup, and it's also just cool to have that title, Dr. Yaad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna milk that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Should we talk about the Yaad hold?
Ah, shit. Yeah. Sure.
How about you give you just talk about the history of the Yaad hold and what it is?
Yeah. So I think it was. Let me actually grab the video. Handstand push-up tutorial on YouTube. I made a handstand push-up tutorial back then before I had Lepco Fitness. I just made it for myself. I did it about 5 years ago. Yeah, 5 years ago, 2015, September. I made a video. And I covered the handstand push-up. And it took me 3 months to make this video because I was very peculiar in the way I was going to teach it. And there was this movement, a progression that was very important. It's the bottom of a handstand push-up position. Okay? So bottom hold of a handstand push-up. So it's a long name. So I looked it up and was Googling, like, what is this movement called? Like, why does it not have a name? So I was in a forum. I was in the Reddit, the bodyweight fitness Reddit. And I coined, like, I asked people, like, hey, what would you call this? And then some of these guys said, just call it fucking Yaad hold, man. I was like, nah, no one would fall for that. And then in the video, as a joke, and you can actually go to the video, as a joke, I said, you know what? Let's just call it the Yaad hold. As a joke. It was a genuine joke. A few weeks later, people started calling it the Yaad hold. Like people were actually communicating with each other using the term Yaad hold. And even on the Reddit bodyweight fitness, they created a wiki page for the Yaad hold. So it started to become legit. Questions in the forum about in the Reddit about Yaad hold there. Before I knew it, Yaad hold was a thing. A joke turned into reality. And so now I actually also just use it unironically. I just call it the Yaad hold. It's the people have accepted. So I'm not gonna complain about it.
It's awesome. I mean, think about like after you die, like 100 years from now, people are still doing calisthenics, talking about the Yaad hold, dude. This one joke that just became this thing.
Yeah, that would be so rad. I would love that. I would love that.
Like, I don't know, like it might outlast, like Lab Coat Fitness, like.
Yo, honestly, if that joke lives on for so far, then I'm truly grateful.
Yeah.
Like I'm truly grateful.
A joke. I mean, it's like everything has a name. Like it comes from somewhere, right? So like.
That's true, man. I mean, you have Jefferson Curls and stuff. You're right. All these people came up with that too. But I feel like an imposter sometimes. I'm like, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to name this movement, but I did.
I mean, once you have the world record for the front lever as well, like that is like completely like, oh, this guy Yaad, yeah, he's the world record holder, the front lever.
Oh wait, my screen went away.
Yeah, your video went.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's back.
Cool.
But yeah.
Let me go over the list. I just want to make sure I don't miss any of the questions.
Totally, man.
Let's see. Well, I guess one of the questions is like motivation, like who do you look up to? And it seems like at first you found this guy doing the 90-degree push-ups. That was your initial motivation. And what about now? Is there someone that you're like, holy crap, this guy's the best?
So I always look up to Yuri van Gelder.
Okay.
It was such an honor to meet him actually and become friends with him. Like that happened. I kind of like he till this day is the strongest person to walk on earth when it comes to planche and Maltese. No one has ever beaten him. There are stories of him actually doing 10 repetitions of Van Gelders, like 10 reps. Doing one is already considered world level. Just doing one rep is already considered world level. I think there may be 20 people in the entire world capable of doing a Van Gelder or a Zarin. I would bet on that. Like I would bet around 20 people. This motherfucker did 10 reps as warm up before he was going to do the competition. So yeah, that's someone I will always look up to. His level of strength is insane. And then when it comes to the other side, front levers and stuff, I would look up to people like Manuel Caruso. Like he just the day that he did the Caruso, because he actually named it after himself, because he was the first one to do it, which is a front lever to a Victorian. The day he did that, he became my idol. I was like, okay, this guy just beat us all.
Yeah, I mean, I see people doing like Victorian to the front lever, right? Like they almost like drop down. This guy does
right. He does the opposite. So it was a hidden race. There are probably like all the Victorian guys follow each other on Instagram. So we all follow each other and we always keep an eye on like who's the first one who's going to achieve it. It's like everyone is trying. Yeah. And so the moment that I saw that he got it, first I got mad. I was a little bit jealous. I was like, fuck, I'm too late. I was going to call it the Yaad, But then after that, I had like strong admiration. Like I was like, damn.
Wait, so this guy's not like a gymnast, right? A professional. He's just like a calisthenics athlete.
He's just a calisthenics athlete who trained on his own, and he's got that movement. And it's weird when you see that. When you see that movement, we didn't even know if it was possible because all 10 of us, I think it was around 10. We're all training for this movement, but we don't even know it's possible. And then out of nowhere, you see this guy post it, and it's possible. Mixed feelings, a lot of mixed feelings there. And then 2 weeks later, Onizuka, the guy I talked about, also did it.
Okay.
And so now there are only 2 people in the world who can do it, those 2. And yeah, I look up to those 2. Like definitely, I look up to them and Yuri van Gelder. Those are the athletes I totally look up to.
So there's like this exclusive Victorian club. You guys all follow each other. It's like
we don't talk about it, but we all silently follow each other. It's like we all follow.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't call it a club, but I know we're all following each other.
You've never competed, right? Like in a gymnastics competition or something.
I did like once for the university. It was just like low level, just because the club at my university needed to win a few prizes, and so I entered at the lowest level, which is the level where people are barely capable of doing pull-ups. So I felt pretty shitty, and I was like planching there, and people were confused. They're like, "Why is this guy planching at level 4? Like, what is happening? Why is this guy doing this?"
I'm not a gymnast.
I'm like, I'm not a gymnast. I'm sorry, I'm not a gymnast. Yeah, but I've done some. No, I haven't.
He's like, I'm not a rapper though. Like this.
Oh. I think I've seen it. I think I've seen it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can do these moves that like that you're trying to learn right now, like the Victorian one and the planche one, and you like I'm not a gymnast.
I'm not a gymnast, bro. Yeah. No, but I've done calisthenics competitions back, like the last one was probably 5 years ago, and I won. Like we in the Netherlands, we also had a battle of bars. I know you in the United States, there's also a battle of bars. I entered in the second one in the Netherlands, and I won that one actually when I think I was around 19 back then, or 18,
That's
17 even.
so that's like a while ago. It's like 7 years ago.
Yeah, that was a while ago. And then I entered the national championships. But back then, calisthenics was still forming, and the score system was very off. You know, I was doing one arm front levers with 2 fingers, and the guy that won could barely do a front lever. So it was a little bit off. I was number 7, and he was number 1. So after that day, I stopped with the calisthenics competitions because I was like, I don't fit in here. Apparently, I don't. I'm apparently maybe I need to become a gymnast. I was like maybe I don't fit in the calisthenics scene because I'm not interested in those swings and everything. I just want to do work on the planches and stuff.
Oh, this is the freestyle.
So that's when it was freestyle. I also did some freestyle. You know, I did backflips to shell planche burpees. Then I got on a bar. I did some muscle ups, claps and stuff. You know, I did a few of those things, but I wasn't like doing 360s and stuff because I wasn't that interested. But I basically stopped.
You can hold a 2-finger front lever.
Like I did like this. No, not like this.
And the other one is just like, in the air, like this.
Yeah.
Wait, 7 years ago.
7 years ago, I think, or 6. I'd have to look up the date. Wait, actually, I have it here. I have the
So
date
basically,
here.
after you started calisthenics, and like 3 years later, you're holding a 2-finger front lever.
Let me just double check that before I have it. I got tagged on that day, so I know exactly when I did it. I hope I'm not the tag is removed. I think it was 2015, man, or 2014. So it was probably 3-4 years after. It was probably, I think it's this picture. No. It's 5-6 years. Yeah, 5-6 years. Okay. I have a video of it where I did a two finger front lever in a strap, and I even did a pull up in it. I think I did
you can do one arm front lever pull ups.
Yeah, if I train for it, I can do it now again. But it's like it's so specific.
I mean, makes sense.
Train for it, you can't.
Because you can almost do like 10 front lever pull ups. Like actually,
the
ways too. Like
depending on the form, I can do 10, 15, depending on what your form.
10, 15, 20, 30, 40. Like
I mean, who knows? I don't know. I lost count. No, but yeah, I mean. I've done 49-second front lever, like that's the max I've done. So you can imagine, like, but it's actually pretty hard for me to do one arm because I never practice it. I never ever practice it. But when there's adrenaline, when there are people watching, you know, you're 10 times stronger anyway. So I was holding it. I was like, oh, fuck yeah! It's like, oh shit, yeah.
You ever do it with like your arm on the side? Like I'm assuming it's harder, right? Because here you can like counterbalance your body.
Yeah. I honestly, I think in my entire life I've maybe done 10 one-arm front levers.
Yeah, so it doesn't interest you at all. Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
if I could do it, man, I'd be spamming it. Like it seems like you don't care that much about it. Like the planche is like. You're way more passionate about the planche. Whereas like one arm.
I'm way more passionate. Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Yeah.
I wonder why that is. Like, why do you think the planche is way more fun or cool than the pulling movements?
Well, there's so much more you can do from a planche. You know, you can there's a balancing aspect to it, so it's more fun because hanging versus balancing is much more fun. And the cool thing is you can press to a handstand, then you can do handstand push-ups, and then you can lower down to a planche again. You go within, you go wider again. That's all cool stuff. But the front lever, it's so much more. It's much more limited. There's not much you can do. You do front lever, do like a little pressy, go back again, do pull up, cool. And that's honestly, you can get creative with it
until you can start transitioning to the Victorian.
I mean, yeah. Well, maybe you're right. Maybe there is much more to it. I'm not. Pull movements are relatively boring to me. Okay. I just like push much more, even though I'm weaker to push.
You're still a beast at both to me. So,
thank you, sir.
Yeah. Like you're like this so high that it all looks the same. You know when you meet someone who's like over 2 meters tall, you can't really tell their height anymore. It's like, oh, you're just really tall.
Yeah.
You're 220.
They're just tall.
Like you're just a giant.
Yeah.
Let's see the next question. Something that's underrated, like whether it be a fitness product, a routine, an accessory exercise that has greatly helped you in getting stronger, reaching your goals.
Oh, that's a good one. It's a good question. Anything underrated? It could be anything, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, a consistent routine is the most underrated thing.
Okay.
I think for me.
Consistency.
Yeah, I think honestly, consistency and compliance. I know it's a weird answer to that question.
No, it's totally fine.
But consistency and compliance is what actually made me strong. That's when I most grew my entire life, when I was consistent and compliant. That's underrated. I don't think people realize how important just that too is. Like you can even have a shitty program. Like you can have the greatest program, but if you're not consistent and compliant, then what's the fucking point? Like if you're not gonna,
I think that it's not just for fitness; it's for everything in life, right? Like you make a 1% every day, and after a few years, I mean, you're like, what? Whoa! You underestimate what you could do in a long time, but you overestimate what happens, day to day.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, 2 more questions here. Something you now know that you wish you could tell your younger self that just started training.
Don't fucking rush, man. Chill.
Okay.
Like, young Yaad, you should have eaten more in the beginning, and you should have worked more in mass training.
In mass.
Okay, Yaad.
Okay.
I should have gotten bigger faster. I should have not. I was really skinny, and I still am on the skinny side. But I should have. The first few years, I should have only done eating and getting big. That is what I should have done, but I didn't do that.
Yeah, well, hypertrophy is an interesting thing, especially for calisthenics, because like the more weight you gain, the more you have to carry as well, right?
Right. Yeah. But there is a relation between the amount of strength you gain per pound muscle versus the pound you gain, and it's usually there's a point where there's a point where you have too much muscle. That point definitely exists, but it doesn't exist for natural athletes.
Okay.
So if you're a natural athlete, if you don't use steroids or anything, you'll never reach that point unless you're like 2 meters tall. Maybe you'll reach it faster. But if you're like below 1.88 or something, you are never going to reach that point in your entire life. You will never reach that. So unless it's legs.
Yeah. So you're saying there's a point where like you gain a kilo of muscle, but it doesn't give you like a kilo of extra strength.
I guess so. There's a point where you become so big it actually starts working against you. Okay. I bet it's difficult because we've never actually we haven't had many cases of that ever happening. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I might be wrong, but when I look at my own clients, because I have some people who are actually 2 meters and 188, around that height, things are slightly different. But that's why I'm pretty certain that if you're below 188 centimeters, then yeah, then you will never reach that point.
All right. Well, most people are below that, so I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So most people will never reach that. Yeah.
Last question. I don't know. We didn't bring it up earlier. Is do you have some sort of warm up routine?
Not a specific one. It's very dynamic. It changes throughout the years. When I have shoulder issues, I just do more shoulder swings. When I had wrist issues, I would take more longer time to warm up my wrists. But usually, what I do, depending on what I'm training that day, I try to just work on the movements I'm going to do. First I warm up. I just get my body temperature a bit up for 5 minutes. Then I do the specific movement, but then the easier variation of it. So if I'm doing a full planche, I'll probably do a planche lean or something, or advanced tuck, stuff like that.
Yeah, super easy variation.
Yeah.
Advanced tuck, yeah, super easy.
I mean, easier, relatively.
Yeah. For me, I find the planche, like after the tuck planche, there's a huge gap between the tuck planche and like everything else.
Yeah, I mean, you're not alone. For me, the step from tuck planche to advanced tuck was a difficult one to make. And advanced to straddle was also very difficult to make. So every step is huge. It's a world of a difference.
What about the one leg variation? Because I found that one to be like more comfortable. I don't know. Like I mean, seemed easier than doing the advanced tuck.
Yeah. So the one leg, the beauty about the annoyance about the advanced tuck is you're in between. Your body isn't locked in a position. You're like awkwardly bending your legs. Whereas when you have one leg's completely tucked in and one is completely straight. So you don't have to think much about your body. But with the advanced tuck, you're like in between, which is very confusing, which is really hard to balance. So that's why a lot of people struggle with advanced tuck, because it's an in-between movement when it comes to the joint angles and everything.
Yeah, I guess that would be true. Like you don't know how much your knee's bending. You don't know if your hips are like in the right position.
Exactly. So the proprioception is 10 times harder in advanced tuck than a one leg or straddle or full or tuck. Okay. It's the hardest variation, in my opinion, when it comes to proprioception and learning.
Yeah, I remember you said something interesting about the hand thing. I mean, we can go over that again when you talked about the planche. You said Van Gelder, and you noticed that he was using like holding the bar very differently from you, right?
Right. So that's one of the big aha moments when it comes to my planche training. Because I'm not a natural plancher. You have natural planchers, people who planche and their body position is in the right position. They're super efficient and their hand position is perfect. And then you have me, super inefficient, very bad. I used to do a variation of planche that is actually just as hard as a Maltese, I found out later. And I could actually, the full Maltese was just as hard for me as the full planche. And I could never understand why until I figured this thing out. I was doing a full planche with Yuri Gelder. We were facing each other. And my lean was 10 times further than his. So I was leaning as if I had legs. I don't have legs, but it looked like I had legs, I was like, well, this doesn't make sense. And so I looked at the movement and I looked at it and I was like, how is this possible? And then I tried to reduce the lean by doing basically this with my hands. I basically tried to reduce it by doing that. And by doing that, and this is very simply explained, it's obviously there's more to it, but by doing that, I reduced the lean so much. It was so much less tension on my elbows. My shoulders were like, oh my God, this is a breeze. Out of nowhere. Full planche felt like a straddle planche suddenly. Like that's how big of a difference it was for me. And
does this work for people that are also like if someone's just trying to do the straddle or the advanced tuck or the tuck, and would they benefit from this trick as well?
Yes, definitely, 100%.
Gotcha.
Because my straddle became 10 times easier. It's like it was like an advanced tuck. So my full went to straddle. My straddle felt like an advanced. That's how it all just changed. Everything made sense. I was like, now I get it. Now I get it why people can full planche. Like first I was like, how is anyone doing a full planche? Like, how is that even possible? I was always like dying. I could hold it, but I was like dying. but now I was actually holding it and not dying. So that was like,
okay, so like just like
I was
with
really
that
happy.
1 second, like your planche became like what 5 seconds longer or something. You could hold it. Like,
Yes, dude, yeah.
okay, and you said it looked nicer too, right? Like you were just higher up in the air and stuff.
You're higher up in the air because you're leaning less, which makes it look a little bit crazier. Because like, oh, this looks impossible. He's like so up in the air. Whereas before, I was like super low to the ground,
Yeah,
which looks cool if you're trying to do that. But I wasn't trying to do that.
gotcha. Yeah, I mean that's cool. I mean, it's like, there's obviously a bunch of planche videos on the internet, but no one ever talks about this little trick.
Yeah.
You learned it from the one of the greatest planchers, right? Or I guess you noticed it.
Right.
Planching next.
Yeah, he didn't even know. It was like, oh, I didn't know I did that. It's like, dude, it's like you're not even leaning. What's going on there? And it was like, oh, I think you're right. I think I do that. And then I tried it, and then yeah, it was right. Yeah. And I actually wrote an entire article on this. If people are interested, it's totally free. You can just check it out. Where I explain with the pictures, with the exact picture that I used to discover this thing. It's also in the article. I can maybe send that to you too for the people who are still interested.
Oh yeah, we can just add the link below.
Yeah.
I think we went over a lot of stuff. Like I said, the interview is going to be an hour. But, I think it's been around that. So like, yeah, thank you for coming on. And if people want to find you, I guess your Instagram is what, Yaad Mohammad, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
that's my Instagram.
If they want to look into what LabCoat Fitness is, like they can just go through there or just type
they could. Yeah, just type in labcoatfitness.com if you want to learn more. I have a bunch of articles. A lot of people DM me asking for questions, but honestly, all I know is already in the articles. It's all free, so you can just go there. And if you actually want to do my training method, you can also download our app. That one isn't free though, but that's just a membership. If you're interested, you can do that. But honestly, you can learn a lot from our articles alone.
Gotcha. Yeah. I met Marlon, who's like one of the people that's taking your program, and I mean, it seems like he's like really progressing really fast. Like
he's got a full planche now.
Yeah, I saw that video. I was like, what the hell? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So Marlon also uses the app. The app is for the people who don't want to do any thinking. All the periodization is done, and there are a bunch of cool stuff in there. If you're like, I just want to planche, then just do the app.
Everyone does. Who doesn't want to?
You're right. Right.
I don't want that.
I don't want to planche. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, thanks for coming on. And what do you have planned for the rest of the weekend? Some more planching?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just really sore because I was ill, and now I'm just sort of getting back into my body. So I'm very sore still. So probably gonna just rest this weekend.
Oh, you're still feeling? Because I saw you like holding planches and straddle planches on your Instagram story. Like,
yeah, I could do it. I could still do it, but it's like I get sore really fast. But for the Kensui fitness people, I am starting a mass cycle soon, and I will start using the Fest more because I'm probably going to start doing weighted planche push-ups and weighted handstand push-ups like Simonser.
Yeah.
I'll send you some content for that. I'll tag you and stuff.
He put like 35 kilos on for me. It's crazy. Like,
dude, he's crazy. I looked at it. I was like, is this for real?
Yeah. He sold himself short. He put 70 pounds, but like, I was like, the vest is also 5 pounds. It's actually like 75 pounds.
Oh, is it 5 pounds?
Yeah, it's around 5 pounds. I mean, yeah.
Okay, sick. Then I can just say that too. Nice thing. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my goal is to also get that 30 kilo. How much do you know how much Simonser weighs?
No. I actually have an interview with him soon, so I'll ask him. Yeah, he's 5'9". I'm assuming he's around like 73 kilos. Like that would make sense.
Yes, I think he's pretty buff though, dude. So I think he might be around 70. I'm gonna put my bets on 77. 77. I'm gonna bet, but
yeah, I think you're probably right. He might weigh more than 73.
Yeah, and he does have legs.
Yeah, definitely less than 80, like maybe more than 75. So yeah, I think you're right. I don't think in that area.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. So yeah, your guess is 77. Like, what are we betting here? What are we betting on?
I don't know, man. If I don't get it right, I have to do 10 handstand push-ups with the vest on. Well, man, no, let's make it 5 handstand push-ups with 10 kilo.
All right, sounds good. Five with 10 kilo.
Yeah, and if
I think you'll be able to do that very easily. I don't think it would be hard at all.
I think it's pretty hard, to be honest. I think I'm gonna struggle.
Okay.
But if you don't get it right,
Well, what was my guess? I need to make a guess.
Make a guess. Make a guess. I have 77. That's my guess.
No, let's just. I think it's much more simple. We just bet like next time we meet, we'll bet like a dinner or something. Like,
okay, we can also do that, man. Shit. Okay, cool.
All right.
77 on my side. Wait, let me look at. Oh no, I shouldn't look him up. We can't look. It's not Google.
Yeah, well, also depends how lean. Like, I don't know. Have you seen that crazy video of him like doing like the one arm clapping and stuff?
Yeah, he was leaner there.
Yeah, he was leaner. Like, I think of him then. Like, I would assume he was like 75.
Okay. When you have the meeting, when you have the interview, that's the weight we care for.
Okay.
So just ask him at that moment that you have a bet going on with me, and I'm guessing. You know what? 78. 78 is my final number.
All right. If you say 70, I'll say 76.
Okay. Let's go.
No. You know what? Like, I'm gonna look at seven. Let's see. If he's over 77, I'll buy you dinner next time. If he's under 77, you buy me dinner next time we meet.
78.
Oh, you think he's over 78? So 78.
I think he's no 77. Yeah, let's do 77. Yeah.
77.5. So if he's under 77.5.
Okay, cool.
Yeah? Okay, sounds good. Hopefully I'll be back
Awesome.
in the Netherlands sometime soon. But I heard everything is closed now, right?
Yeah, we're in a lockdown, so you'll have to wait.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, next time, man, for sure. Thanks for coming on
dude.
again. And yeah, you guys know where you can find Yaad if you're interested in just getting the full planche, which I don't know who's not interested in that. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, man.
Have a great weekend. Bye.
Yeah, thanks. Bye, man.